in behavior approach to management, cause and effect relationship, organizational psychology as a branch of social sciences, theory, research, and application, advantages to both employees and management, and rational thinking. And what is the contribution of other social sciences like sociology, economics, political science, and anthropology? So when you look at sociology, it studies human societies and human behaviors. So organizational psychology is interdisciplinary in focus. It considers and combines the various social sciences, right? So socialization is a process which influences the attitudes and the behavior pattern of the employees working in an organization. Anthropology refers to the study of human beings, especially the origin, development, customs, and beliefs, right? Similarly, political science, right? Political science are followed in organizational psychology for delegation, authority, responsibility, and conflict resolution, right? And economics also refers to how, how it deals with the labor market, dynamics, productivity, human resource planning, forecasting, and cost benefit analysis, right? So you have a summary here, you have check your progress here, you have model question. So please go through all this and you'll be able to understand, not only understand and do your example. So thereby we complete unit 1 and we move on to unit 2. Now what does unit 2 comprise of, right? The unit 2's objectives mainly are to discuss the historical background of organizational behavior, explain scientific management theory, describe the concept of bureaucracy, and know the features of human relations efforts. So whenever people come together, numerous complex interactions happens. The discipline of organizational behavior attempts to understand these interactions so that managers can predict behavioral responses. As a result, manage the result outcomes. Organizational behavior is an old concept, as every civilization has taken interest in the structure within the organization. The historical development of the field of organizational behavior consists of various theories. When we look at the early years, wanting to understand the organizational psychology, what comes to our mind are the Greek philosophers, that is Plato and Aristotle, right, who addressed the topic of persuasive communication. The writings of 16th century Italian philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli laid the foundation for the contemporary work on organizational power and politics. In 1776, Adam Smith advocated a new form of organizational structure based on the division of labor. With the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century, a large number of people have been acquired to work together in manager-subordinate relationships. Prior to this, many large organizations that did exist were military ones, in which the authority of the leader was supreme and practically unquestioned, since membership was not voluntary. Behavioral problems were relatively easy to deal with under these conditions. It is certainly no accident that much of the current knowledge about human behavior have been derived from the organization in which influencing behavior consists of more than just giving others. Famous industrialists like William Durant, Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, and John D. Rockefeller were men of brilliant managerial qualities necessary for the initial stages of industrialization. However, when the Industrial Revolution began to mature and become stabilized, this approach was no longer appropriate. Now let's look at the classical school. The classical writers viewed organization as a machine and human beings as components of the machine. They were of the view that the efficiency of the organization can be increased by making the human beings efficient. The emphasis on the specialization and the coordination of activities. The pillars of the organization theory, according to the classical school, are explained clearly below. Now, according to the classical writers, the organizational theory is built around 4 key pillars: a division of work, scalar and functional processes, structure and span of control, division of labor. This implies that the work must be divided to obtain specialization with a view to improve the performance of the workers. The classical theory rests on the assumption that more a particular job is broken into simplest component parts, the more specialized the worker can become in carrying out his part of the job. Various activities of a job are specified and subdivided into different components so that these may be assigned to different persons. The workers will go on repeating the work under division of labor. The performance of same work will help workers to improve their efficiency, and organization as a whole is benefited by this exercise. Scalar and functional process. The scalar process refers to the growth of the chain of command, delegation and authority, of unity of command and obligation to report. It is called scalar process because it provides a scale or grading of duties according to the degree of authority and responsibility. It generates superior subordinate relationship in the organization. The functional process deals with the division of organization into specialized parts of departments and regrouping of the parts of the compatible units. It is the framework of formal relationships among various tasks, activities, and people in the organization. Has someone messaged me here? Has someone messaged me?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Is this educational psychology classes, ma'am?
No, ma'am. Actually, I was in the taking on another link, and one ma'am came in between, and she said that is educational psychology, and I came to this other link now. They told me this is organizational behavior.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You have come for OB or you have come for educational psychology?
Educational psychology, ma'am.
Then you have to go to the other link, ma. Because I was in that link and they told me to come to this link.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome. Yes. Okay, so span of control. The span of control means the number of subordinates a manager can control. Classical thinkers specified numbers at different levels which can be effectively supervised by a superior. A manager cannot exercise proper control if the number of subordinates increase beyond a certain figure. On the other hand, if the number is less than its capacity and the knowledge cannot be fully utilized. The classical approach consists of important theories of organizational behavior, such as Taylor's scientific management theory, Fowler's administrative theory, and Weber's bureaucratic theory. Let's look at each one of them. Taylor's scientific theory of management. On the turn of the 20th century, the first serious effort was made by Frederick Winslow Taylor to make researches in management of industry in USA. Taylor believed that the best management is through science, applicable to all kinds of human activities. Therefore, he is regarded not only as the father of scientific management, but as the pioneer of modern management approaches and techniques. Taylor wanted to develop a new and total concept of management. He advocated that the traditional managers, instead of being authoritarian, should develop a new approach and change to a more comprehensive and broader view of their jobs, incorporating elements of planning, organizing, and controlling. Scientific management came into existence as a part of to enhance productivity. In the early 20th century, USA was facing shortage of skilled labor. Thus, it was very important to find techniques to increase productivity, enhance efficiency in the workers. In view of this, Taylor came up with various principles that represent the nature of scientific management. So here, after many observations and the studies, he concluded that the management has following defects. Management has no clarity about the work management responsibilities. There were no effective standards of work, failure of management to design jobs properly and to offer proper incentives. Most of the decisions of the management were unscientific and they were based on hunch, intuition, past experience, and the rule of thumb. Lack of proper studies about the division of work among departments. Placement of the workers without consideration of their ability, aptitude, and interest. Taylor now wanted to correct the situation by applying the scientific method to workers. He stressed on smart work than hard work, and also on understanding the systematic analysis of work. The work improvement test Taylor performed, Bethlehem Steel Company highlighted one best way policy. For his study, Taylor selected a Pennsylvanian Dutchman and named Smith and offered him increase in the pay if he would follow his orders without any protest. After this, Taylor experimented various techniques such as rest period, walking speed, carrying positions, and other variables. After a long period of scientifically trying various combinations and procedures, techniques, and tools, Taylor succeeded in finding one of the best way to perform the task. Taylor claimed to train all the other workers until the entire crew had raise their productivity in this manner. That's by putting the right person on the job with the correct tools and equipment by motivating workers through economic incentives. Taylor's achieved major improvements in work. Principles of scientific management theory. Now, Taylor's philosophy of management is based on four basic principles. One is the development of true science work. Two is the scientific selection of workers, scientific education and development of workers. And last is intimate and friendly cooperation between management and the workers. These principles of scientific management are explained in detail in the following paragraphs. Okay. So development of true science work. Okay. So please go through each of this, of the following which is given in this paragraph under different headings, like the development of true science work. What is very simple language has been used. So it is not difficult for you to understand. So kindly go through each one of them. The scientific selection and the progress development, scientific education and development of the workers, and intimate and friendly cooperation between the management and the workers. Okay. So how all these, this helps, in principles of scientific management theory. Okay. So you check your progress and then you have the Fayol's administrative theory. Henry Fayol was a managing director of a mining company in France. In 1888, when the company went into bankruptcy, he had taken it over and enabled the company to rise to a great financial success. During this process, he developed an administrative theory, which explained the process of managing an organization from the top managerial perspective. According to Fayol, the efficient managerial practices can be classified into certain patterns that can be identified and analyzed. He states that the process of management can be learned. When basic principles are stated, the general theory can be formulated. Fayol's ideas about managerial activities of an industrial undertaking are divided into 6 following groups. All the 6 are given. Okay. Technical activities, very easy to understand, which deals with production, manufacture, and adaptation. Commercial activities, which deals with buying, selling, and exchange. Financial activities, deals with searching for optimum use of capital. Security activities, deals with protection of property and person. Accounting activities, deals with stock taking, balance sheets, costs, and statistics. Managerial activities, deals with planning, organization, command, coordination, and control. Okay. So now, as the first 5 activities were commonly studied by many theorists at the time, Fayol emphasized his attention to the last activity, that is the managerial activity. And so he came out with the management functions. So Fayol said that managerial activities can be exercised in a similar way by the people in different managerial positions. However, an individual at a higher level position will devote more time to these functions rather than the individual at the lower level. These important managerial functions are explained below. Okay, so you see 5 points are given. Each of it are very important for managerial positions, and you will also find them managers using this kind of qualities. Having these qualities. So one is the planning. What is planning? Refers to developing a plan of action that helps the organizations to work effectively and reach the goal. Organizing, right? Organization refers to gather together the material and human resources of the organization for effective plan of action. Command, giving instructions to the workers to perform the needed task. The art of command depends on certain personal qualities and the knowledge of general principles of management. Coordination consists of working together, balancing all activities and efforts to facilitate the working of the organization. Control, objective is to obtain conformity with the plan of action, the instruction issued, and the principle established. Fayol emphasized that the principles of management are flexible and can be used in various enterprises and theories. Now, some of the principles of management, what he has put, some 9 points he has put, that is division of work. It's again very simple to understand that the work can be better, organized when we divide the work and give people responsibility. Authority and responsibility states, which is people just not having the authority, but they also become responsible to carry out the work that is allocated to them. Discipline, which the workers need to have. Unity of command, right, where the workers should work under one boss. Unity of direction, where there is a principal head who gives the direction. Subordination of individual interest to general interest. Yes, the whole organization interest will overtake the personal interest. Remuneration of person, the salary paid for the job, that should be fair to satisfy worker and management. Centralization, when decision making is left to higher level managers, it is known as centralization. While also feels that though managers retain final responsibility, subordinates should be given enough power to do jobs effectively. Scalar chain, it refers to hierarchy in the management. It is a chain of authority from the higher to the lower level through which all communication flow happens, right? So check your progress. There are different questions given to you here and all the answers are very, very simple. Now we move to the Weber's bureaucratic theory. A theory especially Taylor's scientific management was essentially seen as a development of industrial engineering and by 1930 lost its validity because of lack of any scientific base. Thus, German sociologist Max Weber tried to fill the space with this theory of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy refers to the organization which the features such as rules, procedures, impersonal relations, elaborate and fairly rigid hierarchy of authority and responsibility. In other words, employees of the organization work strictly following the rules and the regulation, and only candidates and proper qualifications are selected for the job. What are the elements of bureaucracy? The main elements of bureaucratic organization given by Weber are as follows. Hierarchy, right? It is the process of positioning of employees from the bottom to the top. Each lower office is under supervision and control of higher ones. Division of work. The total work is divided into specialized jobs. Each employee's work is broken down into simple routine and well-defined tasks. By doing the same type of work for a number of times, they become experts in the course of time. Rules, regulation, and procedures. The employee's behavior is regulated through a set of rules. All employees are expected to follow these rules firmly. Records. Files have to be maintained to record the decisions and activities of the organization on a day-to-day basis. Interpersonal relationships, everything should proceed according to the rules. There is no room for personal involvement, emotions, or sentiment. The decisions must be governed by rational consideration rather than personal factors. Administrative class, bureaucracies generally have administrative class responsible for coordinating the work, known as bureaucrats. These officials are selected on the basis of their competence and skills. They are selected according to the merit, receive special training for their post, and enjoy the corporate tenure. What are the advantages? The advantages is specialization. This structure offers a valid base for dividing the work. The organization is divided into different functional departments. Employees can specialize in the respective field and show improved performance. Rationality. Bureaucracy brings rationality to an organization. Judgments are made with an objective approach. Logical structuring of bureaucracy provide orderly execution, predictability, that is the rules, regulation, training, specialization, structure elements, all provide predictability and stability to the organization. And then the democracy. In this type of organization, rules regulate bring about consistent behavior among employees. People are selected based on the merit, patronage, favoritism are not considered. What are the disadvantages on the negative side? There is rigidity. That is, critics of bureaucracy claim it is rigid, static, and inflexible. In the name of rules, people may not even fulfill their responsibility. Impersonality. Bureaucracy emphasizes mechanical way of doing things. Rules, regulations are glorified in the place of employees' needs and emotions. Displacement of objectives. An organizational procedure becomes more formalized and individuals more specialized. It is often becomes a confusing factor. Specialists, when focused on their own department, may ignore the broad objectives of the organization. Compartmentalization of activities. Strict categorizations will be made and they work in compartments. Empire building. Bureaucracies turn into managers into empire buildings, which is more physical facilities, whether they are required or not. Red tape. Everything is recorded on paper on bureaucracy. Files move through endless office channels, resulting in inordinate delay, encouraging conformity to rules. So this troubling criticism compelled many writers to dismiss bureaucracy as hopelessly outdated and unwanted. Created in the present day world, the problems of bureaucratic could be avoided if individual needs and characteristics of organizational member are remembered and considered for making. Human relation approach to organization behavior. What is it? Now, according to the human relations approach, management is the study of behavior of people at work. The approach has its origin in a series of experiments conducted by the professors Elton May and his associates at Harvard School of Business and the Western Electric Company near Chicago. This study brought out for the first time the important relationship between the social factors and the productivity. Before, the productivity of the employees was considered to be function only of the physical conditions of the work and money wages paid to them. For the first time, it was realized that the productivity depended largely upon the satisfaction of the employees in the work situation. Okay. Hawthorne studies, mass studies at the Western Electricity Company, Chicago, popularly known as the Hawthorne studies. It was a research program of the National Research Council of the National Academy of Sciences, right, to establish relationship between man and the structure of the formal organization. Hawthorne studies the studies were conducted in the following 4 phases, right? It is very clearly given. You go to page number 17 and you'll find details given here, illuminating experience, right? Relay assembly test room experiment, massive interviewing program, bank wiring experiment. And these are the conclusions of the Hawthorne studies, right? So if there is difficult words, glossary, summary, and progress are given in your books. So kindly go through your book, try through your model papers. It is easy to understand. It is easy to read and to be able to write. Fill in the blanks are there, match the followings are there. And also model question papers are there. By this, we end the unit 2. So we just have another few minutes. In that, we will try and complete unit 3. What is unit 3? Unit 3 is organizational psychology in the Indian context. Okay. And what is the objective of the unit 3? The objective of the unit 3 is to understand organizational behavior in the Indian context, explain the challenges of organizational behavior, know the concept of work diversity and its management. Effective utilization of human resources in an organized way is the key to progress and development of nation. For planned change, effective organizations and institutions of various kinds are required. In the context of developing countries, it is particularly important to understand functioning of existing organizations and institutions in order to improve and make them culturally viable. Although organizational behavior research have been undertaken in India for more than 4 decades, it has remained dominated by the replicative studies to the Western framework. Organization behavior in India first made appearance in India around the 60s. 3 phases were identified in the development of organizational behavior in India. First one is the replication. Earlier Indian researchers replicated all the Western theories, concepts, and methods, presenting their widespread strength. Despite the lack of measurement, equivalence, validation, data, and general lack of theory, and relevation to the local culture, organizations have developed test batteries based on Western models and scales. Conflicting results were kept aside and were attributed to lack of firmness in research design, improper methodology, etc. However, as the number of such conflicting results was increasing, Indian culture was brought in explanation. For example, as Indian culture is authoritarian leader may be more effective than the democratic one. Disenchantment. What is disenchantment? Refers to feeling of disappointment about something previously respected or admired. As conflicting results kept increasing, Indian researchers started to disenchant with the Western theories and models. Many theories of organizational behavior did not characterize Indians because Indians view differently. Therefore, the disenchantment was inevitable. Integration. A combined approach emerged that attempted to integrate Western and Indian content and process of organizational behavior. This resulted in a number of streams of OB that tend to get integrated in various degrees. Ancient idealized Indian values such as self-discipline and self-restraint have a normative role in transforming work organization. In contrast, some Western theories were found to be applicable in the Indian context. For example, the psychoanalytic framework had been used to understand the Indian psyche and Indian culture. Thus, organizational behavior in India has made effort to recognize the practical ideas of the Western origin and integrated with the indigenous one. Challenges in the field of organizational behavior in India. Challenges and opportunities of organizational behavior in India are very big and rapidly changing for improving productivity and meeting organizational goals. Although the problems with organizations and solutions over the ages have not really changed, the emphasis and the surrounding environmental context certainly have changed. The major challenges in Indian organizations facing are in the present context are explained below. That is diversity of management, shifting demographic of workplace and changed employee demands, globalization, improved technologies, encouraging ethical behavior, corporate social responsibility, organizational justice. Look at each one, right? What is diversity management? Diversity refers to a mixture of people with different religion, language, and culture working together, right? India is known for that. Dealing with such collective mixture of differences is an important aspect to present day organ. Diversity in organization explained in two dimensions. First dimension include aspects of age, gender, race, sexual orientation. The second dimension includes geographic location, education, language, income, cultural experience, and work experience. Diversity management is an idea about how employees with differences are received and appreciated and how they are made to work as a unity. Modern organizations strongly believe that by developing diversity in all aspects of the employees, making the organization profitable. It is also helps to achieve the following, right? Access to change business, access to changing marketplace, large-scale business transformation, superior customer services, workforce empowerment, total quality, alliance with the suppliers and customers, and continuing learning. Research has shown that the organization that proactively recruits, develop, and influence multinational leaders are in better positions in the global marketplace. Numerous empirical studies of work teams demonstrate that when tasks are complicated and not clearly defined, heterogeneous teams outperform homogeneous teams. However, though diversity is an important positive factor for the organization, employees experience various barriers accepting the diversity. So now let's look at what are the diversities, right? Employees who come from homogeneous background generally do not accept diversity easily, both at work and also personally, right? What is the first barrier? Prejudice. An unfavorable opinion towards an individual based on his or association in a particular group. Second, ethnocentrism refers to an attitude that one's own group, culture, nation is superior to others. Ethnocentric employees believes that the customs and the beliefs are true and evaluate other customs against their own. Stereotype refers to a set of beliefs about group that is applied universally to all members of the group. For example, all women are meant to be housewives, as one opinion does not hold good, or the members of the group. Stereotypes, though positive or negatives, are not good. Discrimination, excluding an employee organization or a particular type of work as to belong to. For example, only men are considered for a job that requires a lot of traveling. Harassment, persistently avoiding, verbally or physically abusing as the employee belongs to certain group. Sexual harassment, approaching a person in an unwanted, uninvited, intimate way, interfering with the person's productivity or advancement. Backlash, negative reaction towards unrepresented groups, leading to fear, resentment, and reverse discrimination. Managing diversity. The barriers to accept diversity brings out the importance of managing diversity in all types of organization. Now, management should make sure that the employees should understand the importance of diversity and also how the diversity is helpful to the organization. If it is not managed properly, the turnover will be difficult communication and more of interpersonal conflict among the employees. Thus, it is important to develop the ability of the employees to interact and work with individuals who are different in age, race, gender, ethnicity, nationality, and sexual orientation. Changing demographics of the workforce and change employee demand. The major challenging from changing demographic and workforce relate to dual career couples, where both partners are actively pursuing professional careers. Organizations have been accustomed to physical relocation as important means of developing talent. Men or women move up the ranks need the experience of variety of roles in different organizational units. Frequent relocation has therefore been required. The increased number of the dual career professional limits, individual flexibility in accepting assignment may hinder the organization and flexibility in the talent. Another change in the workforce, demographic relates to growing number of employees who are young. The average workforce in India around 25 years. Employees who are young, fresh, ambitious, enthusiastic, and emotive. These people need to handle with caution. An increasing number of working mothers and a steady decline in blue-collar employees, making place for white-collar employees. On the other demographic changes, which have their own implications of the management of organization. With these changes in workforce, demographic employee demands, attitudes have also changed. Earlier demands such as job security, attractive remuneration, and housing do not attract, retain, or motivate today's employees. Employees today demand empowerment and expect quality of status with management. Today's workforce demand better treatment, challenging assignments, and career advancement. Thus, the managers have to find methods of hiring, training, retaining, remunerating, and motivating employees. Globalization has a lot of impact on the people management. This is one of the major challenges faced by modern organization. Due to globalization, the management is required to deal with problems of unfamiliar laws, languages, practices, competitors, attitude, management, styles, work ethics, and more. Personal functions such as hiring, training, compensating, maintaining, and the like must acquire a global perspective. In order to face such challenges, the management should be proactive, flexible, by ensuring the best qualifying employees execute the strategy on a global scale. Okay, particularly, what are the challenges because of globalization, right? It affects the increasing number of managers and professionals, puts a premium on certain competence or skill. Manager learning is critical process in globalization, making teamwork an important aspect. Management career in the context of globalization bring about peculiar difficulties. Improved technology. Technology refers to application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. It is how machinery and equipment developed from the application of scientific knowledge. Technology offers competitive edge to the organization, but keeping a pace with the ever improving technology is a challenge for the employees and management of the organizations. There are two dimensions of improving technology: automation and information technology. Automation occurs when tasks performed by employees is mechanized to be performed by a machine. It works best only when designed to complement the skills of workers rather than replace them. Automation simplifies the job of the employee, but it is not desired when an employee's involvement is minimized. When this happens, the employee becomes bored, alienated, and the consequences can be a poor quality and low productivity. Information technology, that is IT, refers to use of computers and telecommunications to transform information. IT has reshaped the organizations and their interaction with the other entities. The organizations are going for emergence of network organizations and alliance of several firms for the purpose of creating a product or serving a client. Advanced technology through automation for the purpose of creating a product or automation brings about various behavioral implications as follows: downsizing and outsourcing, increase monitoring of employees through CCTV. As employees are widely dispersed across the globe, it is difficult to motivate. Virtual offices, it is one in which people work anytime, anywhere, with anyone. Information technology makes connectivity, collaboration, and communication easy. But it can be a disadvantage, as organizations may not be able to exercise control over their own employees. Technology changes occur so rapidly in the present times that turbulence characterizes most organizations. Employees must constantly learn and adapt to changing technology so that organizations remain competitive, right? So encouraging ethical behaviors, right? What is ethics? No, ethics refers to a sense of right and wrong, the goodness and the badness of the action, right? So it's important for the managers that they maintain, that they encourage a proper behavior from the employee. Corporate social responsibility. What is it now? It is about taking responsibility and make decisions to be able to improve also some of the issues that are plaguing the society, right? It's inspired by self-interest, but the motive and the interest of the organization. The challenges of the organization is that arguments for and against CSR, it becomes difficult to run activities under this program. Some of the arguments, if the business wishes to remain viable in the long run, it was respond to society's needs and give the society what it wants. Organizations have a vast pool of resources in terms of men, talents, functional expertise, and money. With resource, organizations are in better position for sure. If modern industrial societies faces many serious problems brought on a large extent by the MNCs, that is the multinational companies. Therefore, they have a moral responsibility to help solve the problem. The argument against CSR are business function is economic, not social, and economic value should be the only criteria under to measure success. Business managers are best managing matters relating to business, right? Organizations do not have direct accountability to people, therefore not advisable to give responsibility. Nevertheless, many companies are coming forward to participate in corporate social responsibility. Organizational justice, what does it mean? Refers to sense of fairness. Perceptions held by employees about fairness of rewards they are receiving. 4 forms of organized justice are relevant. One is distributive, informational, procedural, and interpersonal. Distributive refers to extent of satisfaction of employees derived from the outcome from the organizations, right, which includes compensation, work assignments, etc. Informational justice refers to people's perceptions of the fairness of the information used as a basis for decision making, based on sound information are fair and accepted by the employee without any resistance. Procedural justice refers to perception of fairness of the procedures used to determine the outcomes they receive. Interpersonal justice refers to the fairness of the manner with which supervisor treats subordinates. Now we come to the end, that is the check your progress. Compare your answers with the one given in the unit. Define diversity, explain to manage diversity in the organization, discuss briefly, and then you have been given the summary, right? So read up the summary, read up the whole unit so that you have a better understanding. The language used is very simple. There are no difficult words, right? So read up the whole topic, go through the summary, check your progress, make sure that you answer all the questions in the model examination questions. All the details are given. Students who are constantly asking me how much to write, the model examination question is very clearly stated here, 10 lines answer, 30 lines answer, right? And there are multiple choice, fill in the blanks. So all these are there, match the following is there. Okay, and then the glossary also is given at the end of the unit. So please go through all this units and read up well so that you are able to be competent to write the exam. Okay, so with this, we finish the Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, right? So what was the Unit 1? Unit 1 was a basic understanding. That is the introduction, basic introduction to the, basic introduction to organization psychology, which covered the definitions, the introduction, right? The history, all that, right? So what is the next unit was a historical, right? How did it came into being and that. And the third one, what we covered is just now what we have completed the Unit 3, and that is the organization psychology in the Indian context. So with this, we complete the first 3 units of Block 1 for OB, that is the organization behavior. So today we had little inconveniences because I started on the right classroom, but then there was some confusion, so I had to come back to another classroom. So I give the feedback this to the university to ensure that we get the passcodes right. And we meet again the coming Saturday and Sunday for the next units to be completed. So thank you very much, students, and have a nice Sunday today, and read up again, and all the very best to you. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.